Welcome to the most iconic map in Counter-Strike 2, Dust 2, and here's how to play it as fast as possible. Let's go. You have CT spawn, which leads to new box. Over here is long. You have A site, goose, cat. Up here is short. This is mid, lower tons, upper tons, T spawn, which leads all the way to sewer slide, mid doors. You have double doors, blue box, pit, long, blue car, B site, back plat, B car. Those are pretty much the most important callouts you need to know. But now let's get into some of the T smokes. Here's a smoke you should absolutely know. So get stuck in this corner, crouch, aim for the top where the shadow is, stand up and jump throw. And if you throw it just right, it'll land on top of Xbox, which opens up so many possibilities. It'll basically block off their entire view from their side of the map, which will allow you to push up cat. You can even throw a flash like so, take cat control and work your way up. As for Molotovs, you want to aim around here by the tree, aim above the red sign, and just running throw. This will molly anybody off of the site. If they're hiding behind ramp, you can just throw a molly like so. This will pretty much force them all out. Basically just push up, take the site, and get the bomb down. Another smoke you should probably know is walk right here in this corner. You see how there's like these two dots on the wall? You want to aim for the small one, for the center of it, and then throw. And this will pretty much smoke off the cross. But just keep in mind though that they can actually hop up on top of this box like so, and they can have a little bit of a gap to work with. Obviously in lower ranks, this isn't really as much of a concern versus higher ranks. If you want to take B, I got some util for you. So walk right here in the center of this, aim for the left side of this second thing of wood, and throw. And then of course you can throw a flash like so. You can jump through it too, but make sure it goes through this gap right here. But this smoke is really powerful just because it allows you to push out and take the site from a different angle. If you have a Molotov, you can always bank it back here to get anyone off the back of the site. So get right here, walk into this dot, aim the bottom of your crosshair up with this diamond. You want to bring it down just a few pixels below here and then throw. As for the Molotov, if you already have the site, you can just kind of throw it like that. That's the easiest way to throw it. But this smoke actually goes a little bit deeper, which is significantly more helpful than if you throw it a little bit more shallow, because if they push it at all, you will immediately spot them through the door. There's no wiggle room. There's no way for them to kind of work around it. And this is by far the best B door smoke you can do. On CT side, I got some smokes for you. So walk over here, walk into this R, aim for the center of this window and jump throw. You can also do the exact same thing by hopping up here, aim for the center of this diamond and jump throw. The first one that I showed you, it'll pretty much block off this part of long, but the second one actually goes significantly deeper. And if you throw it early enough, if you have a good enough spawn, it can prevent them from even pushing it all together, which basically makes it a lot easier for you to push up and gain control of this position. Basically, if you get here in this corner, you have shadow advantage, where if they push up, you'll see the shadow first, which gives you a huge chance to either wide swing or you can just hold it and just wait. But yeah, don't forget about shadows because they can be really powerful. Generally at the beginning of every round of Dust 2, it can be really good to throw a deep smoke into upper tons, which will basically prevent them from pushing it right away. But if they do decide to push it though, you can spot them and pretty much just mow them down. You can also bank a molly off this wall, which will go fairly deep. So anybody kind of playing close will basically be forced out of position. You will hear them get burned, which does make it significantly easier to know if they're planning on going B or not. Over by mid though, this is some utility that you should probably know. So you want to walk right here. You see where the door handle is? You want to aim above it, but in this corner, and simply jump throw. And then aim for the center of the door handle and jump throw, a molly. This is a really deep top mid smoke, which they can push it, but if they do push it and you have an op, you can just hold this position, and if they decide to push either way, you have a massive advantage and you have a huge chance to get the frag. And of course, the Molotov will punish anybody deciding to push cat. If they decide to throw the smoke, you can just counter it by throwing this Molotov, and that'll hold them back long enough to possibly have the smoke dissipate before it's too late. However, they can still push up mid and push up Xbox, but without vision, it is a little bit trickier. Anyway, so if you're up cat and you want to take A site, throwing a flash like this can be really useful because you can peek with it, try to get anyone playing behind the boxes, anyone over by ramp, or anybody in this position. Also watch out for car. Yeah, this flash is pretty useful unless they're playing in this position. If they're playing pretty much anywhere else, they'll get full blinded. Never sleep on utility. As for running a CT-sided default, here's kind of the best way to do it. You want one player to go long, ideally, possibly with a second. But if you do, so you want it to land close to this window. So the best way to do it is to kind of stand a little bit back, aim at the telephone wire above the window and throw. And then if the enemies decide to peek, they're going to get full blinded, which makes it a lot easier for your teammate to push in and either get the pick or even have a little bit of time to throw out a Molotov. The whole goal is just to gain control of double doors, so it's less to worry about. don't hesitate to also throw a smoke. Every round though, you do want at least one mid player. You want them to hold cat as well as top mid, but don't play too aggressively because you can get off, you can get taken out. Yeah, use the utility I showed you earlier. But of course, if they do throw the Xbox smoke, you need to make sure to let your teammates know so they can kind of hop up on top of these boxes and gain control of it before it's too late. If you have cat control, or even if you push up a little bit deeper, you're going to be in a much better spot than if you just completely forfeit it and give them the entire site. Basically, the key is map control. Generally, you want either one or two players going B, but I mean, if they never go B, you can just have one, but you can have another one who can quickly rotate. And the most effective thing to do is just to kind of like hold them back, throw some utility, throw some smokes. You can play this angle, just don't peek out like this with an op because your gun barrel will stick out. So kind of hug the wall. You can also play here. You can play back here. I mean, there's nowhere to escape to, but it can work. And this is probably one of the best spots, especially if you have an op. Hold this line, and if they push in, you have a really good chance to hit the shot and then kind of like fall back. Throw a molly like so. Oh, that was bad. Smoke yourself off and basically just buy as much time for your team as you possibly can while they rotate if they are doing a full B execute. And if you want to take long, never, ever, ever jump throw a flash because chances are it'll go way too high to actually be effective. Like, look at this flash. It barely even affects the guy. Versus if you stand in the exact same spot and just regular throw, it'll pretty much full blind them. So yeah, don't jump throw on that. Here's another thing that a lot of people mess up all the time. And if you make this mistake, you got to fix it because it's bad. If you throw the flash too early, right before your teammate peeks, it gives the enemies pretty much a heads up that you're going to be pushing it. Moral of the story, you just want to time it perfectly. So as soon as the player pushes through the center of these two doors, that's when you throw. Because if you throw it like that and then you push in, it'll pop and then the player can pick out. If they're blinded, maybe get a pick and ultimately take control of pit. The goal is to slowly work your way up to A site. Here's some key pieces of utility you need to know to take long. So walk right here into this corner with the barrel, aim above this light where the power lines are, and then just running throw. Now, there can be a small gap here and there, but generally this is by far the best way to throw the smoke versus just winging it where it could go too far to the left or too far to the right. If you do that, it's going to leave a massive gap, which you never want to have a gap on this smoke. Like if you have an op or CT, they basically just have free reign to hit some shots. Avoid the gap at all costs. Another thing you can do is grab yourself a Molotov, get in this corner, aim for the top of this door handle, and jump throw. This is a very good way to get anybody out of car, but just keep in mind though that it might not spread to this area. So of course you can spam it, you can throw a grenade, you can use whatever utility you want. But it's all about just combining all the util to basically give your team an advantage. If you take A site and there's nobody there to stop you, it is really hard to retake. Also, keep in mind, watch out for Gandalf or Ninja. If you do get the best spawn for B, so you can hop up on top of the boxes by doing 5 jumps like so, which does take a little bit of time. But if you crouch jump, you can get on top of this box and save yourself a jump, which of course in a game of Counter-Strike will save milliseconds, which allows you to get to the position way quicker. And don't get too aggressive, peek these angles very slowly and deliberately. But if you can get into this spot as they peek up, you can get a pick and then run back. But be aware that there could be people lower. And if they're lower, you're kind of in a world of hurt. So a Molotov can go a long way, even a smoke, any utility basically. I mean, there's just so many different ways to play Dust 2. So I hope I gave you guys some ideas and I hope you guys end up winning more matches. Let me know what map you guys want to see next time. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. It's Turbo and I'm out. Peace.